Did you know this miracle in American history? After the American victory at Saratoga, where 6,000 British troops surrendered, British General Howe struck back by driving the Patriots out of Philadelphia. While 11,000 Americans died on British starving ships, where the British would capture the Americans and stick them on ships where they would starve to death, there were 11,000 American troops that set up camp on December 19th, 1777, at Valley Forge, just 25 miles from Philadelphia. Soldiers were from every state in the new Union. Ages went from 12 to 60-year-old. There were whites, African Americans, and even American Indians. Over 2,500 died at Valley Forge that terrible winter. It was a rate of 12 per day, dying from freezing, exposure, hunger, and disease. A committee from Congress reported feet froze and legs froze till they became black, and it was often necessary to amputate them. Lutheran pastor Henry Muhlenberg, whose sons, Peter and Frederick, were in the first U.S. Congress, wrote in his Notebook of a Colonial Clergyman, I heard a fine example today, namely that His Excellency, General Washington, rode around among his army yesterday and admonished each and every one to fear God, to put away wickedness, and to practice the Christian virtues. God has marvelously preserved him from harm in the midst of countless perils, ambuscades, and fatigues. On December 24th of 1983, President Ronald Reagan stated in a radio address, the image of George Washington kneeling in prayer in the snow is one of the most famous in American history. The story of George Washington kneeling and praying during the terrible winter at Valley Forge. Hessian Major Karl Leopold Baurmeister noted the only thing that kept the American army from disintegrating was their spirit of liberty. In February, the spring of 1778, Prussian officer Baron von Steuben arrived to train and drill the American volunteers, transforming them into an army. On April 21st of 1778, Washington wrote to Lieutenant Colonel John Bannister, no history can furnish an instance of an army suffering such uncommon hardships as ours has done, and bearing them with the same patience and fortitude. To see men without clothes to cover their nakedness, without blankets to lay on, without shoes by which their marches might be traced by the blood from their feet, and almost as often without provisions, marching through snow and frost, and at Christmas taking up their winter quarters within a day's march of the enemy, without a house or hut to cover them, and submitting to it without a murmur, is a mark of patience and obedience which, in my opinion, can scarce be paralleled. Successfully keeping the army intact through the devastating winter, and Baron von Steuben training them into an army, Washington issued the order from Valley Forge, April 12, 1778. The Honorable Congress, having thought proper to recommend to the United States of America to set apart Wednesday, the 22nd instant, to be observed as a day of fasting, humiliation, and prayer, that at one time and with one voice the righteous dispensations of providence may be acknowledged, and his goodness and mercy towards our army supplicated and implored. The general directs that the day shall be most religiously observed in the army, and that no work shall be done thereon, and that the several chaplains do prepare discourses. On May 2nd, 1778, Washington ordered, the Commander-in-Chief directs that divine service be performed every Sunday. To the distinguished character of patriot, it should be our highest glory to laud the more distinguished character of Christian. An amazing story of faith in times of crises. America is unique in world history, and it's important for us to remember these miracles in American history.